Let's meet our 32nd field of Arnold Classic competitors. Patrick Moore, Joshua Lenardowitz, Steve Kuklo, Dexter Jackson, Victor Martinez, Johnny Jackson, Akeem Williams, Cedric McMillan, Mamdou Big Rami El Sabaye, Sergio Oliva Jr., Max Charles, William Bonac, Morgan Ast, This is your field for the 2020 Arnold Classic Bodybuilders. We're gonna go right to Tony, right? Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage this evening's Master of Ceremonies, Tony Doherty.
Good evening. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Well, what a weekend. Well, almost. Apart from us being sideswiped, ambushed by something way beyond our control. You know, Jim and Bob Lorimer and Arnold work incredibly hard all year to bring you this, the Arnold Classic. The last few days, however, they've worked harder than ever to keep this happening. So on behalf of all the fans, I want to say thank you, Jim, Arnold, and Bob, for fighting for us all. As a result of that work, we're here tonight to celebrate the greatest show on earth. And now we look forward, not back, in a direction to make this bigger and better than ever in 2021. We want to welcome all the fans watching worldwide on the live stream brought to you by Redcon 1 with Bob, Aaron, and Luke. Now, let's get on with the show. Our first competitor making his debut appearance in Columbus tonight is from Tomball, Texas. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Patrick Moore.
You can see why he's off his best, obviously, but you can see why he placed as high as he did at the Olympia with that structure, that tiny waist. He's got everything, man, but he's a young guy and he's just starting his career, Aaron, so he's got a long road ahead in terms of making improvements, and you're going to be seeing Patrick Moore in the winner's circle a whole lot more over the years.
You know, it's interesting, Bob. We saw him at prejudging today, and you guys, the audience, will see him soon next to everybody else. When he stands by himself, he really looks awesome. I mean, great arms, great lines. Everything looks pretty tremendous. Last year at the Olympia, he was 10th place, surprising a lot of people. And I expected him to come in here and really surprise people. And you see him all by himself, and you think, man, he is going to. But then you see him next to Reelton, it's a little bit different story. Because he looks great tonight. I mean, he looks like he's improved, actually, from today.
Well, most of the guys do usually. You know, all that posing and ringing out. You know, the carbs get utilized.
So the cheeseburgers.
Yeah. Or sometimes it's the other way. A couple cheeseburgers can fill you out. So you're going to see some guys that look a whole lot better and some guys that look a whole lot worse.
How often, Bob, do you see guys? Because I feel like a lot of times we see guys that either are the same or improve. I feel like it's kind of rare on the same day prejudging Tonight Show. I don't see too many guys get significantly worse. Have you seen a bunch?
No, generally speaking, yeah. If there's
at this level.
Yeah, at this level, you're not going to see huge mountains being moved in terms of conditioning one way or the other, but slight differences can make a difference in those placings.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's just incredible how he looks on his own. I mean, this physique, exactly how it is, you blow that up another 10, 15 pounds.
Well, like I say, he's very reminiscent of Dexter Jackson years ago when he first made his. If you go back and you look at the late 90s, early 2000s, when Dexter turned pro and started making his appearances, very similar. Again, he had that tiny waist. It had everything there, just needed to fill out. So I think that's what we're going to see with Patrick.
What do you think, ladies and gentlemen? I think we're looking at the future.
And he's actually taller and bigger frame than Dexter.
Everyone's got a big story.
I think he's
but what
about,
this
he's
guy's
about
gone
5'11",
through
right?
Yeah,
to get
he's
here
a
tonight
few
over the
inches
last
for sure.
2 years, you could make a movie about it. So I'm proud to welcome from Melbourne, Australia, Joshua Lenardovich.
Just the fact he's made it to the stage, having going through everything he's going through.
Yeah.
What a lad.
All right, big man thunder from down under. Josh Lenardowitz taking the stage, and as we mentioned earlier, Josh had a whole bunch of things to overcome just to get to the stage. So the fact that he's actually in the condition he's in is pretty impressive.
Well, I mean, those of you that would follow him, I mean, if you don't, you should. I mean, he's been quite vocal about how tough this prep has been. I mean, I think he's had a couple of brain surgeries in the last
Look
year.
at Josh just
Had a
pulled out
baby.
the old rope climb from 1982. I haven't seen that.
Well, he won the.
I never did that
He
one.
won the Best Poser Award last year, remember?
Did he really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm sure he'll be back this year trying to do the same.
And Josh is one of the bigger guys on stage. He is definitely a mass monster. Getting on stage at what, 270, Bob? 275?
No, at least. Yeah,
he's a
he's
big
bigger than
guy.
you think he is. But Luke, what's he got to do? Where's he go from here in terms of, okay, what does he have to improve to get into that top 6 places?
I mean, he just needs to be the Josh Lenardowitz from 3 or 4 years ago.
I mean, specifically, though, give me a critique on his physique right now.
He just looks tired. It looks a little bit flat because I think he's had to kind of overcompensate the drying out process. He doesn't look as big. I think he's had to aggressively diet for this show. You can kind of see, that kind of. He just doesn't have that pop, does he?
Well, we talk about the illusion, and you can see he's a little bit thicker in the waist than he normally is, and that will take away from your appearance of looking big. Everything, it's smoke and mirrors in bodybuilding.
It's almost like the rest of him's a little bit downsized, and his waist is the same. So it's the illusion.
Well, and that's the thing. I don't think he's any small. I think his waist is just bigger. If you bring that waist down 4 inches, guess what? The whole rest of you looks a whole lot bigger, doesn't it?
Yeah.
For sure. And also, all these problems I'm sure affected his training and everything going on with him. And I've seen him train at the Dragon's Lair back in the day at Flex's gym. And this is a guy who's squatting 7 plates on each side for reps, 8 plates on each side for reps.
The cool thing is, he's not that far off.
No.
I mean, we're nitpicking. Obviously, we're splitting hairs because that's what we get paid to do. But he could step on stage at the Australia show, kind of Tony Doherty shows in just a few weeks, and that's in his backyard, Luke. So I can't imagine you won't see a guy, this guy, 30-40% improved in just 2 weeks.
Look what happened last year. I mean, this time last year he was way off. Came back to Australia, moved up about 4 places.
There you go.
Thank you, Josh Lenardowich.
I do like that rugged physique, though. You can just tell he trains hard.
The next competitor is a real favourite here. He was 6th last year, and tonight he's really, really in the mix. He brings the whole family. From Dallas, Texas, ladies and gentlemen, Steve Kuklo.
All right, the Kook has taken the stage. Big Steve Kuklo.
Steven ruined my shirt.
Steve's arguably the most improved, I feel like, for the show so far. You know, we saw him this morning, and man, he looked awesome.
Well, he was, I mean, it was quite clear the judges had him in the top 4, and that's pretty impressive in itself. And that's a big improvement from last year, where I know he did well last year, but like I say, the details you can see are much better. Separation was Steve's nemesis in years past. And you can see by his legs right there, Luke. You see those lines going up into the hips. That's much improved. You can see he's not missing nothing. His back, which was a weak point, now isn't, and you're going to see that when he turns around.
We always say that word, don't you? Refinement. When people say, "Oh, he needs to refine," I mean, to me, that normally means absolutely nonsense.
You know, one thing.
But this is what refining really is. He's no bigger than he was 3 years ago, but he just looks way better, harder, more separation.
One thing I noticed from the morning show, the prejudging to now, is his presentation in terms of the oil and the color. And while people may not think that makes that big a difference, but he's got, I mean, it looks improved, and that just makes him look sharper as well.
Well, that's called polish, and that's what you want. Most guys, they'll kind of redo their tanning in between, so most guys are darker at the night show. You know, the body's had time to absorb all that color and oil and all that stuff in the morning, but you can see right there, Luke, much improved from years past. But Steve's got all the makings. I mean, you know, there's people who have touted Steve as a, you know, future Olympia contender for legit. So it could be that he's coming into his own this year.
That's exactly what it looks like the last, I would say, 2 years. Yeah. He's kind of, coming into his own.
I remember that was the big thing, right? When Steve got his pro card, everybody's like, this is the next Mr. Olympia, which is almost a curse, because when you hear that, it's like, well, that almost never, ever happens. But he's starting to really come into his own, and maybe one day that is going to be a prophecy that he fulfills.
It just shows how much of a long game bodybuilding really is.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen like
It's
in
a
a
long
couple of
game,
years. It takes
no doubt about it.
ages.
Let me tell you, that big boom and most muscular boy, that's gonna score well with the judges, and you're gonna see that in comparison when these guys come back out a little bit later for these night show comparisons. That shot right there, the crab shot, the hands on hips, these are all right in his wheelhouse.
I mean, his delts are literally bigger than his head.
Tell you what, the crowd is going crazy for Steve. We're back here watching this thing, and it's crazy that you can hear these guys screaming for Steve like I hadn't heard anybody else so far.
He's a good guy to like, man. Firefighter. He's married to Amanda Latona. That certainly doesn't hurt. But you know, but he's a good kid. You know what I mean? And that's what I like about Steve. He's genuine.
Again, just like Josh, he has that rugged physique. You can tell he lifts heavy.
Very similar to Josh.
The firefighter from Texas, Stephen Kuklo.
Another very big guy. Both him and Josh are in the 275, 280
Good
pound
old Stephen.
range.
This guy's something else.
Luke's just upset because he rubbed tan on him.
There's no
He's
way
through
to
my
keep
shirt,
this
man.
short.
I bought
Because,
this especially for this.
all right, where do you start? He's won more bodybuilding contests than anyone in history. 29 pro shows. 2008, he won the Mr. Olympia. He's won here more than anyone 5 times. Around the world, he has 9 Arnold titles. And what makes this unbelievable is in November, he turned 50. And he's announced his retirement. We're never going to see him here on this stage. So it gives us great pleasure to say, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the greatest ever, for the last time ever, Dexter Jackson.
All right, the pre-contest favorite coming in, the Blade. Dexter Jackson making his final Arnold, well, maybe not perhaps his final Arnold Classic appearance, because there are other Arnolds this year, but this is his last year of competition, and the Olympia will be his last show. He's calling it a day, Aaron, hanging him up. No better place than the Olympia stage.
Since the day that I started really following bodybuilding, it's so weird to say, Dexter Jackson has been somewhere involved, you know. And I started following bodybuilding in 1993. I believe that was one of the first shows he did. He may have already been heading towards nationals in 93. And here he is, 51 years old, still doing it and looking unbelievable.
Now, Luke, to your point earlier in our pregame, look at his thighs. I mean, you can tell he has put on size in his legs. It's impossible.
He needs to drop the from the Blade and just be Blade, because he's definitely half vampire. He has to be. I mean, he still has that young-looking muscle. I mean, we were discussing this earlier. There's quite a significant difference with like the more masters-looking competitors. And he has that fresh, tight skin, as Chad Nichols would say, the way the skin lays on the muscle.
Yeah,
It's,
there is no like looks good
No.
for his age. He just looks good.
yeah,
you know?
but how many other 51? How many other 51-year-old
Zero.
bodybuilders have you seen? Like,
None.
exactly,
Zero.
exactly.
And I've seen them all. And
Because
trust me,
usually they look 51 years old.
we'll never see this again. If this happens, we'll be long gone, and somebody else comes along that does it. But this is a once in a lifetime type situation that you're going to see.
I mean, he is legitimately
he's
one of the
better
best.
tonight,
of
No,
all time.
I was just going to say the
better
same
tonight,
thing,
too.
Aaron. As I'm looking here, he looks sharper than he did this morning. You can see the glutes are sharp, the back.
Yeah.
There's no skin folds.
That's exactly. So for me, how I look at Dexter, I pick a spot on each guy, and that's where I look at
Yeah.
his lower
back.
He has no lines, no folds tonight. He is tight as could be.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's close enough that he could conceivably pull this
jump
out now. That's a big, tall order because you still got William Bonac to come, and you still got Big Ramy. And I tell you what, if Big Ramy sharpened up from this morning, it's lights out.
It'd be interesting if Big Ramy didn't sharpen up and goes the other direction, and Dexter made this kind of jump. What will happen?
He's actually quite significantly better. Cheeseburgers.
You're probably right because Dexter, he just fills out, man, and you can see.
Yeah, I think being a little bit flat's it's not quite as difficult or drastic to fix. So I mean, he's just had a couple more meals, and look at him.
You can see Dex having a little fun with the crowd, a little more animated than usual. This is a guy who knows that he's going down this road one last time here, and you can see he's having a little fun out there. You know what? I'll tell you what. I'll tell you right now, he's going to be hamming it up with the guys a little bit later on in the comparisons and the pose downs because what a great career.
This must be so
Wait
emotional
up,
for him.
Dex. Wait up, Dexter. Ladies and gentlemen, stand on your feet.
What a legend.
Yeah, go back out there, big man. Come on, get yours. There you go. Now, we can't see the audience, but I can tell you, I could probably guarantee you they're all standing right now.
Yeah.
I bet this is a standing ovation.
Dexter's trying to contain
And let me
himself.
tell you, this isn't for Dexter Jackson here. This is for a career that has spanned decades. This is for being a 51-year-old guy. Look at now the emotion sets in. Look,
Oh, this is
listen
giving
to
me
that crowd.
goosebumps.
Listen to that crowd.
I look like a plucked turkey. Wow.
This is the bodybuilding community recognizing one of the greatest bodybuilders of all. A record, in my opinion,
From
that will
Jacksonville,
never be broken.
Florida,
You'll never see
the
a pro
one,
again winning 30
the only,
bodybuilding shows
the greatest
in
ever.
a career.
Dexter
I bet you this is
Jackson.
tempting him to stay around. It's just-
It's good. And Dexter is at a point where he can really appreciate this too.
Oh, yeah.
He has earned this.
What a great moment.
Wow.
Never say that again. Now, making his 9th appearance here in Columbus, Ohio. He's no stranger, and he's a veteran too. From New York, ladies and gentlemen, Victor Martinez.
All right, one of New York's finest. You talk about veterans. Victor Martinez, not too far behind on Dexter when it comes to years in the biz and what he's meant to this bodybuilding community. But, the only thing that sucks is he's got to come after Dexter, which is always tough. But, you can still see signs. Victor is 46, I believe.
Yeah.
So he's still got a few years to go to catch Dexter. But look at the physique on Victor still, man. Look at this guy still bringing it. Now, this is a guy arguably years ago, was it 2007, I believe, that a
Everybody
lot of people had winning the Olympia over Jay Cutler. And I tell you what,
A lot of people.
there ain't too many people that can lay claim to that.
Jay Cutler didn't think so. But
No, other than Jay Cutler.
But
yeah.
a lot of people thought so, and I remember that, and I remember seeing the pictures in the magazines and everything, and being like, "Wow, it was incredibly close."
Well, Victor's still bringing it, man. I tell you, that back is still amongst the best. Now, obviously, he's, we've seen Victor obviously at his best some years back, but I tell you what, there is no quitting this dog, man. He just keeps coming back, and I predict right now you'll probably see Victor throughout the year improve.
Yeah.
This is the first show of the year in March here, so he's got the whole season to compete.
Again, just like Dexter, he still looks very fresh.
Luke, what's Victor got to do to recapture the Victor of 2007, in your opinion on his physique?
Forget some leg tips from Dexter, because if Dexter brought his legs back, I think Victor can as well. And if Victor can, I think that's one of the main things that's missing from the kind of the older Victor, but other than that, he's pretty much exactly how he was.
Victor working the crowd. You know, you can always tell that Victor generally, he loves the sport of bodybuilding. He lives, eats, breathes it. You know, he's nothing more, nothing less than professional all the time. But, you know, it pales only in comparison because he has a Dexter Jackson at 51. But this is out at 46 years old. This is an outstanding physique.
It's just an outstanding physique, just in general. Honestly, I think the only thing he's lacking is a little bit of leg size.
And unfortunately, at this level, I'm not so sure I would have picked this show for Victor to basically start the year with, because he can still win a regular circuit show.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, he picked the Arnold, which is, and this Arnold in particular is probably the toughest lineup in 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
But you know what? He held his own this morning. He was obviously down in the lower call-outs, not what he was looking for. But you know what? All that does is motivate Vic.
I think when you're Victor Martinez, you have to do the Arnold, really. You know, you're that. He's been that caliber for so long, and he's a fan favorite.
Yeah, he sure is. People love Victor.
Well, we haven't seen him here since 2016. In 2017, he won the Arnold in Africa. Then he said, I'm done. No more competing, retired. He woke up a few months ago, looked in the mirror, said, I've got one more shot. I still look pretty good. And he's back here in Columbus, Ohio. Ladies and gentlemen, from Dallas, Texas, the one and only Johnny Jackson.
All right, veteran number 2 on the stage, Johnny Jackson. Everybody knows Johnny. World's strongest bodybuilder. He hung him up, and then he's back. So I thought he was done for good, but I guess Johnny says he's got a little more gas in the tank, feels invigorated. Again, I'm not so sure I would have probably picked this show, but look at the muscle this guy still. Now, Johnny, if I'm not mistaken, is older than Victor, so he's somewhere between Victor and Dexter. But
you know, he's still got that muscle. Obviously, like we talked about, as you get older, it's harder and harder to keep the legs and build the legs. One thing that Johnny kept for sure is those traps. And that's the thing. That is the thing that I always remember.
That's so big.
Well, the funny thing is Johnny's always taken, flack for lack of legs. But if you see Johnny in person, it's not so much lack of legs. It's his upper body is so big. His traps in his back. I mean, look at his trap. How can this guy hear anything, Luke?
He probably can't, to be fair.
His traps are over his ears. But look at the back development. Now you can tell this guy was with the world's strongest bodybuilder and a power lifter in his spare time. He's tremendously strong a power. Look at that back.
I mean, look at his erectors. You can't build a back like that unless you've torn some heavy steel off the floor.
Heavy deadlifts.
He recruited his buddy Branch Warren out of his own retirement to train for him with this, which Branch says was quite interesting because, Branch has no intentions of going back on the stage, but he says, I got to beat her for my partner.
Now, was their training style the same ballistic training?
Yeah, he says it was no different than what they... Listen, that's all they know. They're going in there to mess stuff up, all right? They are not careful. They ain't training at a Planet Fitness anytime soon.
Well, hopefully
all right?
they don't mess themselves up doing that.
Yeah, no thanks.
I know me, just the difference between 40 and 25. I mean, I am conscious of every rep and every weight, and every time I pick up anything heavy, I go, uh-oh, better not hurt myself.
No, listen, their mentality is still identical than it was 10 years ago.
Amazing.
They're still in there messing around. They don't touch nothing that's got 2 digits. Everything's 100+ pounds. You know what I mean? It's just, they're rocking and rolling in there, man.
That explains why he still has all that muscle.
Yeah.
He still has very tidy midsection as well.
Yeah.
I tell you this, I'm very impressed with what Johnny brought back to the stage, and he looks a lot better tonight than he did this morning as well. So I'm sure some nerves were probably in there this morning,
Johnny
getting back
Jackson
on the stage and all. But he looks good, and I'll be curious to see if he continues throughout the year as well to maybe another hopeful Olympia appearance.
Finishes last year and just kept getting
One of the things
better
with the Arnold
and
Classic is
better.
every year they
They've
do
seen
have a veteran come back as an exhibition for them. It's great.
Yeah.
Because wasn't it a couple
From
of years
New
ago that Will
Jersey,
Harris
ladies
came
and
back?
gentlemen, please
We've always had Kevin Lavergne, there's so
Will World Harris.
He is a vampire.
I always love seeing him at Gold Gym in a speech.
Oh, he used to be enormous.
Talking about enormous.
I was just gonna say here.
Well, good segue that was.
Akeem Williams is absolutely monstrous. And you can tell that because when he stands next to the other guys that we keep saying are monstrous, he makes them look small. Yeah. That's how big he is. But look at that. Look at those proportions. I mean, a small waist for a big man, all the muscle in the world. From the front and from the side, he's deadly. Like you said, it's literally just from the back and literally from the waist up that he needs a little bit more detail. Needs to get that skin a little bit thinner. Is that, Luke, in your opinion, is that a diet thing? Is that a cardio thing? Or is it a genetic thing?
Everyone's heard that expression, seal skin. It's not very nice, but unfortunately, it does stand true. It's just, how do you make your skin thinner? I don't know.
Well, how do you make your skin thinner in one spot?
Exactly.
Yes,
I think it's just like I think it's just genetic. I don't.
The fans who are watching now are going, "What are you talking about?" But when he turns around from the
you'll see.
Basically from the midsection up, that upper back, because everything else is unbelievable.
But
right now you don't see anything.
I almost feel like it wouldn't be as noticeable if it wasn't for the fact that his legs have crazy amounts of detail.
That. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah, look at the separation and the muscularity in Akeem's legs. Now, here's what we're talking about, everybody watching at home, okay? He's got a lot of muscle, but you look at that shot right there, okay? And you don't see as much separation in that upper back.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously he's wider than a barn door, so he's got that going for him. But this guy's got so much potential.
Yes, amazing potential. It looks like he's wearing football shoulder pads when he walks out. I always think to myself, geez.
Now,
I
Luke,
saw in one of the pre interviews they did with Oscar and himself. They said they've been purposefully attacking his delts, trying to bring his delts up. And that's, I think,
bring his delts
up.
What?
Exactly, but
they're up.
Look how wide he is.
Yeah, how much up can they get?
I don't know.
Now, here's my question, Luke. All kidding aside, is there a technique you can do? It's not a training thing. He's got more muscle than anybody, okay?
Yeah.
All these things you're seeing now, all this muscle splitting stuff that chiropractors are doing, they're rolling things on, and the cupping.
Akeem Williams.
Could any of that help? I mean, does any of that come into play?
Maybe. If he hasn't done it, maybe you should try it.
Wow, what a talent.
Our next athlete won this show in 2017. It was a great and memorable moment, and he became Arnold's favorite. They tried to hide it, but it was just too obvious because of his posing, his shape, and his personality. And he's back to try and win again, ladies and gentlemen, from Heath Springs, South Carolina, Cedric McMillan.
So this is Cedric McMillan, Redcon 1 athlete.
That's your boy.
Yes. Cedric is one hell of an amazing bodybuilder and also one hell of a good guy.
Anybody who's met Cedric loves Cedric.
Yes.
He's such a cool guy. He's eccentric. He's a little quirky, but that's why we love him.
Yes.
He's also military, and this is a 20-year military vet who continues to serve. So he does bodybuilding as a professional in his spare time, Luke.
I don't understand how he does it. I mean, I recently listened to a podcast he did with Fuad Abiad, and they were talking, and he goes over what a typical day for him is, and he has to sneak into the toilet to eat a meal in 10 seconds, run out again. He looks after the children in the area. He does that school thing he does. There's tons of things he does.
He's very involved in his community and giving back. He said, I don't know if it was last year or the year before, in an interview, he pretty much takes the money he makes from bodybuilding shows and puts into the kids' community centers and things like that. So
he's also obviously an unbelievable poser, and I know Arnold has said that he loves his physique, he loves the style and his posing and presentation. And when he gets out there, all of his nerves disappear, and he's in his element. But before he gets out there, he's a bundle of nerves, right?
Now, give me an assessment, Luke. We're looking at Cedric now versus this morning.
He's
sharper, worse, or better?
Sharper.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, man, it's the GL. What's he doing? Cedric.
He likes to have fun out there, that's for sure.
Luke, why don't you do that, bro?
I'm going to do it next time.
Now, is he sharp enough, in your opinion, Luke, that he could have solidified his place in that top 5?
He's looking for Arnold.
Oh, yeah, he's looking for his buddy.
His dad.
There it is.
He's one of the very few that actually can do that shot.
That's not an easy shot to do.
No, it isn't.
Arnold obviously is known for that shot, but Cedric is one of the few that can actually pull it off.
Yeah.
I'll just start by saying everybody loves a freak. This guy turned pro in 2012. Every year, Bob Lorimer calls him up and says, please come and compete in Columbus, Ohio. This year, he did. He's from Kuwait, ladies and gentlemen. Mamdao. Big, really big. Rami Elsbaye.
Well, there's big, there's bigger, and there's, oh my God, it's coming this way. All right, and that's what you got with Big Rami making his much anticipated debut in 2020 here. He took off pretty much most of last year, as we covered in the pregame. But you're seeing the fruits of that effort now. The question is it going to pay off with a victory here at the Arnold?
And the exciting thing for Big Rami and for you fans out there is that he's now working with a new coach, Chad Nichols, who's worked from the likes of from Ronnie Coleman to Nasser El Sabadi to many, many, many other very big guys.
Oh, and big girl. How about his wife? No stranger to the Olympia title, right? He's one of the best women's bodybuilders of all time.
I mean, I can't quite tell yet, but I think he might be a little bit better than earlier as well.
You're going to know that when he turns around.
Yeah.
Everybody looks good from the front, but as we all know the saying, bodybuilding shows are won from the back, and there's a good reason for that, and that's because it's at this pro level, again, everybody looks good from the front. Looking good from the back is an art, and we're going to see that right here.
He looks sharper to me. I don't remember the hamstring being quite that deep this morning or this afternoon.
Well, you still see there's just a little bit of the folds, Aaron. I know that's your center point you like to key on with these guys in the back, but not a lot. I think Luke's right. I think he is a little bit sharper tonight, but so far everybody else is sharper tonight. So
Yeah.
Looks like they're zooming in a little bit more for us now, Bob. We can get a closer look at this.
I think they had him in the second this morning to William Bonek, who we will see coming up very soon.
He's massive, isn't he?
Now, Luke, could Rami, if he dropped, I don't know, I'm just going to pick a number, 8 pounds, okay, and came, he's got muscle to lose,
He
so
could,
to say.
he could lose 20
Would it
pounds.
benefit him, in your opinion, or not?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it just goes to show.
I mean, can you be,
Bonek.
I hate to use it because it's bodybuilding blasphemy, but can you be too big?
In some places, yeah. I mean, I still think his quads are a little bit too big. I mean, this is a game of proportions at the end of the day.
Look at those quads.
It's crazy.
He looks like Earl Campbell back in the day. Now we can, they're zooming in for us, but
Yeah.
what are you seeing from the back, Aaron?
Yeah, now we're starting to see up close. You can see that he's not 100%, that he's still holding just a little bit. And look, he's getting everybody pumped up. People are excited. He is a freak, and like you said, Bob, people love freaks. The lines in his quads, you're seeing a little bit more, I feel like, than this morning.
Yeah, he's like he's about 5% sharper.
Yeah. They're so big, it's like they're like a tumor, They're so.
Unfortunately,
Not a tumor.
he may be 5% sharper, but so far Dexter's 5% sharper, and we haven't seen William Bonek yet, who is Mr. Consistent. We haven't seen William coming off yet.
Well, I mean, I wonder if like the game plan with Rami, if all-out condition is the game plan.
Thank you, Big
Because
Rami.
Definitely should be.
Because if everyone is telling them that, why
I
is
would never squat again if I was Rami.
I wouldn't even do
I
legs.
think you're done, bro.
Training partners.
I just get.
You're there.
Yeah, you're good.
He's completed leg day.
Competition
If that was a
before.
game, he's completed it.
One of them made a comeback in 1984, the Mr. Olympia. He come on stage and he held this little baby boy up and said, maybe one day he will also be the myth. And he's here, ladies and gentlemen. From Los Angeles, California, Sergio Oliver Jr.
All right, Generation Next coming up. Sergio Oliva Jr. That's right, folks. You know the name. Be interesting that might be the first time you've had a guy named Sergio Oliva and Arnold on the same stage in some years. But now, Sergio, I was impressed with this morning. I thought he looked great. I thought he made great improvements. I thought he was sharp. I also thought he could have been up another notch or two in the comparison. So hopefully he's sharper tonight and he'll actually get that opportunity.
Yeah, today he was neck and neck with Cedric McMillan, kind of battling it out for that 5-6 spot this morning. So who knows where he ends up tonight? But he is definitely a very improved bodybuilder, and he, like as Luke said earlier, he used his time well in his off season.
I mean, his back's a lot thicker than it was.
Well, he was fighting Cedric for that spot, Luke. So, so from what you've seen so far, was he able to put enough together to get past Cedric, or you think Cedric has kind of held him off, or is it just up for grabs tonight?
It's pretty close. I mean, I think Cedric improved more, but I think this morning I had Sergio maybe edging Cedric out a little bit, but Cedric has improved quite a fair bit more.
Now there's a great shot. There's Arnold down in front.
Oh,
How cool is it
cool.
got to be for him, a guy who actually competed against his dad?
awesome.
All right, to be up there now filming his son. And there's Sergio knows that Arnold's right there. You know he's going
His
to play to him.
presentation's incredible.
He's got to do he needs to do his dad's pose for Arnold, right?
Oh,
I
yeah.
think that's what Arnold's waiting
Oh,
for.
yeah.
The victory pose.
And Sergio does two poses that look just like his dad. I mean,
There you
that
go.
pose right there,
Oh, sick.
the victory pose, and he'll do it. I'm sure he'll do another one. And the most muscular.
Yes.
That most muscular, man, it looks dead on the money.
Quite nimble for a big chap as well.
Now, if you're Sergio and Arnold's right there taking a selfie with you, does that make you a little nervous? I feel like it made me a little nervous. I don't know.
Nah, he's
You know
loving it.
what?
He's loving it.
If you know Sergio, you know
That's cool.
there it is. He just pulled ahead of Cedric by split decision. Hey-o.
Go home, Bob.
Sergio's very unique in his posing, as you can see. A little out of the box, but you know what? I'll take that, man. It's better than the same old, same old. He's very inventive with his posing. And here comes the victory pose. We're right here. How cool is that?
Very cool.
Look at that. I love it. That's great.
Yeah, he's put on a great show.
You can't help but root for Sergio because of the legacy that his family has.
He's
the
a good
difference
kid.
in,
You know, he's a little confrontational sometimes.
A little
He's-
opinionated,
Yeah, a
yeah.
little opinionated, but you know what? I've always liked him, man.
Yeah,
he's,
it's
he's a
great.
good kid.
He's not boring, that's for sure.
No.
nothing wrong with making bodybuilding a little more interesting.
I'm very curious to see him match up with Cedric and see if he can pull ahead or even higher. I mean, you can probably go up about
Thank
2
you,
spots.
Sergio.
That was an excellent routine.
Yeah, excellent.
This next guy was second here last year. That made him really mad. So he flew out to Australia 2 weeks later and won the Arnold Australia. He's from the Netherlands. Please welcome the conqueror, William Bonac. Wow. Was it a bad error? I turned the page and blew it. I'm going to blame anyone else, but lucky I have an earpiece. So now, this guy's traveled all over the world. He's from New York City, Huntington, ladies and gentlemen, Max Charles.
All right, another one of New York's finest, Mad Max Charles, coming to the stage. I give this guy most improved, Aaron. I thought he looked tremendous. I thought the improvements he made in his physique, his separation in particular, were paramount this morning.
Yeah, he looks great, man. He's become an extremely complete bodybuilder. Doesn't have any of those overpowering body parts that initially I thought connected with Max Charles, and now he is come in incredible condition.
He looked a bit funky, is what you're saying. He did, but he doesn't now. And look how much better he looks.
Well, you know what? We talked about can you be too big earlier. His delts and arms were too big for the rest of them.
Yeah.
It actually made his legs look smaller, kind of like a Johnny Jackson type of a scenario, but clearly you can see he's brought up his legs. He's actually balanced out his arms are still tremendous.
I mean, he looked like he was carved out of stone, and he still does.
Yeah. Yeah, he looks great.
Grainy, that's what they say, isn't it?
Yeah, no, he's got that thin skin conditioning. Now, he didn't get as high a call-outs as I thought he would this morning. I was a little surprised, actually, that they didn't kind of add him into that first call-out. Luke, where did you see it?
I agree with you. I think he should have been much higher. I mean, it may be a size issue. Maybe because, again, he's not quite up there with the bigger boys.
Yeah, but he's not small either.
No, he's not small.
And listen, William Bonak's the smallest guy on the stage if you want to go by
Yeah,
stature.
but
And
Dexter
Dexter,
too.
Dexter
Yeah,
is
but-
not the giant,
But pound for pound, the amount of muscle Bonac is
Yeah.
carrying is pretty incredible.
True, per square inch.
Yeah, it's like a Belgian blue cow.
That's exactly what I was thinking, Luke.
Yeah, see?
I don't know what that means, but
Yeah, he looks. I mean, his lower back, man. He really he looks great. He's not holding anything.
No, he's dry as shit.
Well, he is a guy who might move up tonight. I mean, he certainly doesn't look any worse for wear. I mean, he, if anything, he might be a little sharper from this morning. He's at least as equal to this morning, and maybe better.
I think this is the best Max Charles I've ever seen.
I don't think there's any question there. Yeah, we haven't seen a better Max, but I think he's going to be a little disappointed if he doesn't get an opportunity.
I think he's been working with a new coach this prep.
Who's he
I think. I mean, I don't know how true this is, but I heard he's been working with Milos.
Oh, okay.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, the mind certainly in
mind.
attendance. Milos, one of the best trainers out there. But I'll tell you what, if he is, and hats off to Milos, you did a great job, buddy.
And you know, if he's smart, right, Bob, he's going to do a bunch of shows in a row.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Max
he
will
does.
compete, and he gets better throughout the year. So there's no question in my mind. You'll see Max with a victory this year.
Yeah.
He'll be back on the Olympia stage.
You put him at a smaller show or a mid-level show, and he's winning those.
You know, one cool thing is that we keep talking about how if guys can move up, you know, if they have an opportunity. Steve Weinberger does a great job of giving these guys the opportunities to get compared. And he understands that it's all about comparison. And at nighttime, Steve is not shy about moving people around, and he will
right, try
reward
this.
those who got
You'll never
better.
guess
and
who's
sometimes
next.
he'll put down people that, you know, didn't come back any better.
He makes them work.
He's the
makes 'em
current Arnold Classic Australian champion. He's from the Netherlands, ladies and gentlemen, and he's here to win. Welcome, the conqueror, William Bonac.
All right, they call him the Conqueror. William Bonac taking the stage. Now, this was our pick this morning. From what it looked like, he was, in first or second. I mean, certainly in the top two. It didn't seem like anybody, they ever put him out anywhere towards the end. So, in my opinion, I think they had him in first. It's William's show to win or lose. And the one thing is, he's a model of consistency, man. We'd never see this guy out of shape.
And he's won the Arnold before, so it wouldn't be.
That doesn't hurt.
It wouldn't be a shocker. Yeah, it wouldn't be a shocker.
And he is the second best bodybuilder in the world, on paper.
Also doesn't hurt.
Or doesn't.
Now, Aaron, this is what you were talking about earlier. His lats literally go right into where his posing trunks are. You don't see that with a whole lot of bodybuilders, man. That is some muscle right there. Look how low his lats insert. That's crazy.
That's where genetics come into play. There's no way to bring your lats lower, unfortunately.
No.
It is what it is.
It looks like he's not wearing any oil.
No.
You know what? Good observation. He looks very dry in terms of. Now, we use dry as a term, obviously, of conditioning, but his legs look like, you're right. It almost looks like he has no oil on much of them. Now, can that hurt him, Luke? Or is it just something we're seeing?
I think it's more just, like from this perspective. I think the judges can see what they need to see.
I feel like, there, like you said, Bob, about polish. There is something to be said. When you see, I always think when I see saw Phil Heath come out on stage at the Olympia, and everything is perfect from head to toe, and he has the color and the oil right. It does do something,
Well, it's kind of interesting here because to the untrained eye, you would actually think he's not as good as he was this morning, but you can't really tell because you're right. It doesn't look like he's got if he's got any oil on, it's not a lot, or his skin just soaked it up.
Yeah.
I don't think it's hurting him at all.
Now, that said, there is a difference when you are live and that you're 20 feet away as the judges are, that they can see all that fine detail that obviously you can't see at home as you guys are watching this. So you can see he's still in great condition here. I mean, any change from this morning, Luke?
No, I think he looks about the same.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just. I mean, with William, he's always that consistent, isn't
Yeah.
he? So he
Yeah.
doesn't.
It's funny. The oil situation is it's hard to know 100%.
Now they're zooming in
Now
for
you're
us.
getting a better- now
Hopefully,
you're
you guys are
getting a
getting the
shot.
same shot.
Now you're getting a better shot of it.
I don't know.
He may not be. He may not be as good as
You
this
know
morning.
what? It may not be an oil thing. Maybe I think he was a little sharper this morning.
Yeah, it looks
now,
like it.
all things to an end. All right, is that enough for Big Ramy? Did you see enough out of Big Ramy or Dexter? Because Dexter was sharper
I
tonight.
think we're gonna have to wait until they're all stood together.
Yeah.
There is quite a disparity between his legs.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
is that his left leg? I mean, you can see it. I mean, there's something. I heard he had an injury before the Olympia.
Well, you can see he's got almost
Yeah.
like a little knot on his left knee,
Yeah, I mean-
and you can't really tell if that's.
It has affected that leg.
yeah.
I mean, if you look at his VMO, his teardrop above his knee, it's quite down. But it's not. Again, it's not really hurting him.
No.
When you've got muscle to spare, you can get.
tell
rid
you
of
He
it.
what.
still looks awesome, but
Oh, it looks insane.
Now, Luke, if you're his coach now, the second he gets off this, are you running back there and going, get the oil, get some oil
I
on?
would like pay me 40%.
Oh man.
No, he's I think he's
Tradition is,
royal, but
if you win your pro card here at the Arnold,
I don't
you get
know.
to
I'm really
compete
interested. I'm more
in the
interested
next
now to
one
see
as a
him
pro.
compared to Dexter and Brown.
This guy,
I tell you what, Dexter may have brought himself a little closer to another hopeful Arnold title to finish out his career if William dropped a step.
first time
At this
on the
level,
pro
you really
stage
can't afford
here
to
in
lose
Columbus.
anything
Welcome,
going into the night show.
Morgan Asti.
All right, one more to go, and that, of course, is the big man himself, Morgan Ast. I believe he's from France.
Yes,
Is that right?
France, right?
Now, we don't know a whole lot about him because he was an amateur just last year, but he's a big amateur, Aaron. You don't look up to too
Huge.
many people, but
No.
this guy, he had 4 inches on your height.
So we went back, me and Darielle, my wife, were backstage with him, and I'm like, look how much taller he is than me, and I'm wearing shoes. I got heels on my shoe, and I walked up. She's like, no way. And I walked up, and he's got 2 inches, 3 inches on me with no shoes. This guy's probably 6'6".
And let me tell you, it's hard to look big when you're a basketball player, okay?
man.
When you're 6'6", man, you got to have a whole lot of muscle to even look like one of the best bodybuilders in the world.
Michael Jordan definitely
But
didn't
not
look like
just-
that.
But not just that. Where's his skin? He
left his skin in France.
Yeah.
No.
This
Big-
man
big
has not
man's
had a
even got a little flair. 50 Shades of Morgan.
This man has not had a croissant in years. I mean,
His conditioning
dry.
was actually the best of anybody on the stage this
100%.
morning.
And I mean, just for somebody that size, I mean, to get that dry. I mean, I know he works with Chris Aceto. Chris was telling me this morning he's never seen a guy with glutes like that.
Chris
ever.
did his homework because
Yeah.
this guy's. Well, that's when he turns around at home.
Yeah.
Here you go.
This is crazy.
I mean, look at the feathering and his glute, his hamstrings, his lower back.
He's holding that.
Now, all that said, Luke, he was clearly down in the last call-outs or close to it. So
I'm not sure
why?
I don't know. I think it's. I mean, Chris did also mention that he has 2 bicep tears from his strongman days, and so that would mean a couple of his shots are pretty bad. Like he'll literally lose the front double to everyone.
I
think
mean,
it's
he's
quite
not the
apparent.
most clearly he's not the
No.
most aesthetic guy, and the
But-
height hurts him against guys who are a
But
lot
if you're-
shorter.
But I mean, if you're missing a vital body part like your biceps, it's going to hurt you no matter how you look.
Now
You look
I
his
got to look
front
at his
double.
biceps.
Yeah, when you
I
look
never
at
really
very
noticed
flat,
that
his
before.
front double. See?
Well, he's got the tattoo on the one,
Yeah.
which kind of covers that a little bit. But I tell you what, he pulls it off. I mean, it's not, that's a hell of a physique. Now, again, just to nitpick, why? Okay, everybody's at home going, well, this guy's ripped. Why is he down? You can listen. He's got big legs, but they're up and down. Okay, he doesn't have that big sweep like you see with a Big Ramy or Akeem Williams or those type of guys. So when you're that tall, man, having sweep to your legs is almost impossible. The arms, like you said, Luke, the midsection, could be a little bit more trim. So, and he's a little narrow, of course, given his height.
Right.
Aaron, I mean, you're not going to be the widest guy out there like Big Ramy.
I think it's simply when you're at this level, the Arnold Classic Olympia level, your genetics, how you're born, is massively dictates where
Sure.
you place. You can't change
Yeah,
those
listen,
things.
Remember
he
that
picked a hell
name,
of a
ladies
show,
and
you know what I mean? But
gentlemen?
you got to give this guy
Morgan
some credit, man, because he looks tremendous.
And we talked about it
That
before. If he's
concludes
325 now,
round
maybe he
three
needs to be
of our
350.
Pro Open Men's Bodybuilding. So let's hear it for the whole field as we welcome them back on stage for the confirmation round. Let's welcome back Patrick Moore, Josh Lenardovitz, Steve Kuklo, Dexter Jackson, Victor Martinez, Johnny Jackson, Kim Williams, Cedric
All right, well,
McMillan,
this is
Big
the moment
Ramy.
of truth. So, lineup's getting
Sergio
called back
Oliver
out. By the way,
Jr.,
big shout out
Max
to Tony
Charles,
Doherty out there doing
William
a
Bonac,
fantastic job
and Morgan Asti.
emceeing the Arnold. Tony, as everybody knows, runs all the shows down under in Australia. Has been doing for many years. You talk about a guy who loves the sport of bodybuilding. It's Tony Doherty.
Now
So,
we're going to
Tony,
hand you
great
over
job, man.
to our head judge, Steve Weinberger.
Thank you, Tony.
All right, here we go. Big Steve with the call-outs.
While we wait for Big Steve, big shout out to everybody at the Redcon One Gym in Boca Raton, Florida, watching it at
Steve,
the watch party.
Dexter, Ramy,
Guys?
and William.
There we go. Now, they're calling them out in numerical order, okay? So nobody get crazy yet. Now, this is the same call-out that they made this morning, barring any adds or subtracts anybody here. So this was your projected top 4 from this morning.
Dexter and William, switch, please.
Now, I'll tell you this. Somebody got to William. Look at his legs. Got a little sheen on there. So,
They sure
Gentlemen,
did.
quarter
Smart
turn to
play.
the right.
What a great call out for Steve Kuklo.
Quarter
How about
turn
him up there
right.
with Big Ramy, Dexter Jackson, and William Bonac.
Go on, Stephen.
It's awesome. He must be so excited right now being up there.
Quarter turn right.
Dexter looks very
Face
much
front.
improved from this morning, and this could be dangerous for William because I got to be honest, I don't think William looks as good as he does this morning, but I do think
Front
Dexter
double
does look
bicep.
better.
Well, so far, having Dexter next to William is a good sign for Dexter. We'll see what happens, where Big Steve moves him around to.
Interesting
Front lat
dichotomy here.
spread.
You've got the two, arguably, we'll call them, quote, smallest guys in the show, and two of the biggest guys in the show.
The
Yeah,
bookends, the
yeah,
big
yeah.
bookends.
As bookends, yeah. Well, as Arnold said in the his opening
Side chest.
remarks about Franco, who we lost this past year, a good small man can beat a good big man.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's interesting too, Bob, as you look at them hit their side chest, you see Big Ramy, who's known as the biggest of the big guys, and Steve is doing a really good job keeping up size-wise.
Yeah, Steve he's losing no
hanging with
ground to
back double
nobody. I mean,
bicep.
he's holding his own, and he's earned this position. So now again, somebody can be called up into this group if Steve sees fit. But this shot right here is going to tell you a whole lot. And this is one of Dexter's better shots. All right, what are we seeing, Luke?
I think, I'm noticing Ramy's this, for him,
Back lat
he's improved
spread.
the most from the rear since this morning. I do actually agree with you with what you said about Bonac. He's not quite as quite there as where he was
It'll
earlier.
be curious to see if Steve moves these guys around or if he leaves. Now look at that shot from Dexter right there. Oh,
Yeah.
I think Dexter had 2 cheeseburgers.
whole lot of muscle going on there.
Well, so Bob, if he doesn't move anybody and he leaves and lets them go off like this, it's
Side
pretty
tricep.
indicative of the fact that Dexter moved up a spot. And he's in the top
yeah,
two, one or two.
yeah, because Dexter was third, fourth looking this
Yeah.
morning, and clearly he's up in 2 right now. If this doesn't move, again, if you're watching at home, okay, you'd be looking at 1 and 2 in the middle either way, and 3 and 4 on the outsides either way.
Usually Steve will move everybody around and give everybody a chance to
Abdominals
move,
and thighs.
but sometimes not.
Now, Steve will mess with you.
Yeah.
Like sometimes he'll do stuff just to do it, just to mess with the audience, which I
Yes.
think is kind of funny.
Abdominals and thighs.
To be honest, that's not a great shot for anybody.
No.
Your favorite
You know,
most
that is not
muscular.
the bread and butter shot of any one of these 4 guys.
I also think seeing William next to Steve.
But
It's
now,
not-
look at
it's-
Steve. Look at that most muscular from Steve. I tell you, he
Yeah.
can hang with anybody with that shot.
Steve's known for his quads. And I think where Williams slightly downsides, it's really kind of sticking out
Thank
now.
you, gentlemen. Back in line, please.
Steve looks
Oh.
great.
That's a big.
No, see now,
They
look
could
at
bring it back out at the end, but
Yeah.
right now, that's interesting. So we
It is
could have a
interesting
change.
because he didn't move up on anybody. So from what I can gather, they're looking at these guys as the solid top 4. Now you're looking for 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now I can almost guarantee you're going to see Cedric, Sergio. I'm going to say Max Charles moves up into here.
I'd like to see that.
Yeah,
Sergio. Cedric.
there it is.
Yes.
Akeem.
Yeah.
And Akeem
And
Williams. I
Steve.
just took the words out of my mouth.
And who?
And Max Charles? No, Max Charles. Just the 3 they
I'm
got to call him.
gonna-
They're gonna
he'll call
else.
somebody else.
I'll bring Kukla back in.
Oh,
Interesting.
no, that's not good for Steve.
No. Now Steve's in the battle
Now,
for.
again, let me explain to
Steve
everybody
and
who's watching
Akeem
out there,
switch.
okay? Why is he calling Steve Kuklo back out with these guys, okay? And this is what I love about Steve Weinberger and the judging panel, okay? Because they want to give these guys an opportunity to see if they can compare with Steve, okay, for that, let's say, 3rd, 4th position.
Quarter turn
All
right.
So this is what I'm talking about, Steve, giving these guys an opportunity to compete. And this is all you can ask for as a competitor, Luke. I mean, you know this better than
Yeah, of
anybody.
course.
You want this
Quarter turn.
comparison. If you're Sergio and Cedric,
Well, this is the comparison we all wanted to see.
Yes. And Cedric's looking good. I mean,
Cedric's he's been
looking
improving
really good right
every
now.
yeah, he's getting better as he's going.
Just
Now,
Quarter
you
turn
can't
right.
see a lot of a difference here between the muscularity of a Cedric McMillan and Sergio. The years of the gym, you can
Yes.
tell in that shot.
Well, Cedric has one of the best backs, I think, as well.
Yes,
in
he
the
does.
IFBB.
But they're all holding their own. But you know,
Face front.
this is a precarious situation for Steve Kukla right now because
Cedric and
this
Steve
is literally going to
switch.
make or break whether he's in the top 4 or whether he slides to 5 or 6.
To me, Cedric is quite clearly getting better.
Oh, so they're switching him around. Okay.
Now this is great for Cedric, not so much for Steve.
Front double bicep.
You can see the confidence building on Cedric's face as well.
Well, I'll tell you what, Sergio should be getting a little more confident too, because he's right in the mix. And he knows this is it for him. I mean, this is going to make or break whether he's in 4th or 5th. There's a big difference between 4th and 8th.
Front lat
in this show.
spread.
Yes.
Now, Akeem Williams, to me, is softening up a little bit. Cedric is getting better with every pose. Sergio is getting better. And Kuklo's about the same.
Side
I don't think
chest.
he's fading per se, but I think these comparisons are definitely.
Look at Cedric's leg. Side of the legs coming in a little bit better. You know, maybe the cheeseburger paid off. And also we talk about polish, right?
That's still a great shot for Kuklo
Back double
right there.
bicep.
You can tell the polish versus no polish. Like
Kuklo,
This is going to tell you right here who's 4th and 5th.
I did notice then, I think Sergio's getting a little bit tired. Maybe he was letting his midsection go
He's
a little
military, man. Believe me, he could do this for days.
bit. Suck it in.
Now, look at the difference. I was just talking about Sergio's back versus Cedric's. That's the difference between a guy who's been training an extra 15
Well, I
years.
mean, as we were talking about with the seal skin.
Relax,
Akeem.
spread
Look,
out,
I mean, if you
hit
look
a
at the
lat
difference
spread.
between Akeem and Cedric, the level of detail is just night and day.
it's pretty dramatic.
And you can see, and you can actually see it looks like a skin thing.
I hope we get a chance to see Cedric right next to Kuklo, because right now, from where I'm seeing,
yeah. Listen, it could happen. I mean, Steve will work these guys to death. So we've all been on the receiving end of that one.
Yeah, it sucks.
I haven't been on the receiving end of it. But
I have.
I've
Side
certainly witnessed
Luke
it.
has.
Yeah, it can be withering.
I think a lot of people don't even understand how difficult it is to pose this long, this hard, under the lights as well.
And with pressure, and
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Well, if this stays
Relax.
the same, then
Face front.
Kuklo.
Steve and Cedric switch back.
You see, he's
Wait a minute,
cramping.
wait a minute.
Cedric's
Hang on.
lower ab.
Moving him
I
back.
noticed his pec was cramping during his routine
Who
as well.
was?
Cedric.
Oh, Cedric.
If you look at Cedric's lower bottom right ab, left if
Yeah,
you're facing,
he's
cramped
cramping up. But you know what? That's a professional right
Yeah.
there, because he ain't letting nobody know.
No. He can't, not when he's in battling right now.
Well, listen, Steve gave him a shot,
Abdominals and
and that's all
thighs.
you can do with
Yep.
this. But I think he's probably seen enough from Kuklo that he's solidified his spot. I feel bad for Cedric right now, because if he's cramped, that is the
gonna hurt.
worst position in the world when you're cramping.
Your
and you
favorite
got to hit
most
that
muscular.
shot. I have been there and done that. It is not a good feeling.
You know, he's doing a great job of covering it up. Because that would,
Yeah.
for me, like I've had ab cramp, and man, you just want to like stretch it and pretend,
I got to
stretch
be
it out.
honest. After seeing these comparisons now, like I say, Steve wasn't really fading at all, and he's certainly not now. So, I think I got to probably leave him in his position.
Thank you, gentlemen. Back in
Now
line,
it's a
please.
battle for 5th and 6th between
Patrick,
Sergio,
Joshua,
who I think might be
Victor,
ahead of Cedric
Johnny,
if they left him in that lineup.
Max,
The way
and
they did
Morgan.
was
Yeah, they
with
left
Cedric
him- they
back
left
on
him
the
in middle.
outside.
Yeah, left him in the middle.
So right now I got to put. I think Sergio climbed up a spot in the 5th, Cedric 6th, and Akeem 7th.
I can't help but root for Cedric, the red Catalan athlete.
Of course,
so I
because you're
have no choice.
Because you're biased like that.
I can't help it.
That's okay.
Max and Johnny switch.
Cedric probably should have won the whole show.
Yeah. Damn judges, politics. You know.
Victor and Johnny switch.
I think this goes back to our point earlier, highlighting with
Yeah.
Patrick. He just needs size. That's it. Just needs some size.
Yeah, just time in the gym, man.
Yeah.
He's got
Morgan
all
and
the
Josh
makings.
switch.
Look how big Morgan is.
I thought they put Morgan
And they put
next
him next to
Check it
Patrick
out.
and Johnny. Yeah,
Gentlemen, quarter turn to the right.
Steve is a troll.
He's got a full head, Morgan, over the two next to him.
See, now, personally, I would have liked to have seen them bring up Max
Quarter turn right.
into that last call-out. And to see if he could have hung.
Yeah.
But clearly the judges are not seeing enough there that they thought it warranted a comparison. So, interesting.
I mean, I would assume it is just the size thing.
Quarter turn.
You're probably right, yeah.
Face front.
You know, the interesting thing is going to be after this is obviously
Spread
the
out,
judges
hit a
are going
front
to go
double
back down,
bicep.
put their scores together. That pretty much gets added to the morning scores, and that's where you end up with your eventual placings. But I'm on the fence right now, man. I mean, I had William kind of at a solid 1-2 this morning, and 2 was up in the air. But I don't know. I think
Front
I've seen
lat
enough
spread.
from Dexter that he might be knocking on the door right now. So this might come down to the post now.
I honestly, it could flip-flop either way. No, I mean,
I don't think I saw enough from Big Rami that he's in
no.
contention for the win. I think it's definitely between Dexter and
seems like it, right?
and
Rami was
William.
He was a
Side
bit sharper
chest.
from the back, but I mean Dexter just transformed since this morning.
Well, Big Rami just doesn't flow is the problem. So as big as he is, 300 pounds of muscle, you know, it's like you say, his thighs are a little bit too big. You know, the waist could be a little smaller. He could use a little bit more. But, you know, with those fine adjustments, I mean, listen, he'd be killing everybody
Back
out
double
here.
bicep.
So I guess we'll know for sure. You know, a lot of times Steve brings out the top 2 or something like that at the very
Morgan's
end,
clip.
right?
I know,
It's crazy.
Yeah, he might.
It's
Yeah, I know. Morgan's just crazy, man. Look at the conditioning of this guy. But that's a shame, really, because obviously he has done about as good a job as you're going to do with a frame that big.
And his glute, if you look at his glute, his
Back
one glute
lat
is the size as
spread.
everybody else's glutes together.
Yep.
So you think Steve will bring back the top 2 or something
Well,
like top
Steve's
4?
going to do one of. Yeah, he likes
at
to
the
give
end.
credit where it's due sometimes to reward those guys. So, in my opinion, he would probably bring back William.
Side
and Dexter.
tricep.
That's
I
what
would,
I'm
I would love to see Dexter take this.
Well, that would be
so would
crazy.
Dexter. And let me tell you something. How fitting would that be? That would be number 30.
Yeah.
Winningest of bodybuilder of all time. Again, that's a record we're never going to see broken. And I tell you what, that starts a real
Abdominals and
good
thighs.
road to his final show at the Olympia this year.
Just Max hitting that. He's about to hit hands overhead abdominal. You really get a feel for how peeled Max is in this shot.
Max is in great shape. Like I said, I really would have liked to. I mean, size notwithstanding, I would have liked to have seen him in the last call out just to see if he compared.
His midsection's pretty much perfect.
Your favorite, most muscular. Thank you, gentlemen. Back in line, please.
Here we go. Here we go.
Dexter, Rami, and William.
Oh, he called 3.
That's your top 3.
There you go.
Well, they put Rami out there.
Wow. So you're almost right, Bob. Add one more.
Front double bicep.
Well, but the one thing it tells you is clearly Kukla was probably in 4th.
Yeah.
I don't think there was any question about that, but this is pretty much it right here, boys. Like this
Front
is going
lat
to give you
spread.
your winner. Now, if I know Big Steve, he will move these
Relax.
guys around just to keep it interesting and put Dexter in the middle
Dexter
and
and
put
William
Rami in the middle
switch.
probably. There you go.
Ooh, here we go,
And I know
here we
Big
go.
Steve. Boy, that just gave a big boost to
Side
Dex.
chest.
He's going to give him a few shots in the center. And, you know, I like when he does this because it gives each guy that. I mean, I know it's you know, it
Back
doesn't make a
double
lot of
bicep.
sense to a lot of the people watching, but, you know, you want to be in that center, man. It does kind of mean something in bodybuilding.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you're Dexter, right, the adrenaline, you move to the center and the final call out with two other dudes.
Luke, you've been in that position. I mean, how's it feel like when you
Back
get
lat
that
spread.
call, like, and it's like, oh man, this is like I'm holy crap, I'm in the lead
Well,
here.
Dex is probably used to it, but I was just like, what the? It was to me. It was like it was a blur.
When I looked at Luke's eyes when that happened, he looked over and goes, "What the hell?"
Yeah.
He couldn't
I think
believe
there's
it.
I think there's a picture of me.
Relax,
just like,
turn
my eyes
around.
coming
Deer
out.
in the headlights. Or
Rami
a cow,
and
or,
Dexter
whatever
switch.
animal you want to pick on for this one. Though. Big Rami in the middle.
Oh, here we go.
Look at Dexter laugh. You know why he's laughing? Because he's been
Side
around so long. He
tricep.
knows the game, so he knows it doesn't necessarily mean anything, but he'll play it up.
I honestly have Dexter here out of the 3.
You have him what?
Winning.
Winning.
I think so.
I'm telling you, it's.
I think Rami's faded a touch.
And I think William has faded just a touch.
Yeah.
Not a lot, but
Abdominals
again,
and
when you're
thighs.
getting sharper as the blade is, you're gonna fight. Huh? I told you have a little fun with these guys. Look at Rami. Yeah, that's right. Love it. Tell you, big man represents pretty good in those abdominals,
Yeah.
doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, it's certainly he may have a larger waist, but his stomach is always in check. He's got great abs, and good shot for him.
Relax.
Right now, he needs to tighten
William
up.
and
the
Rami
shot, but
switch.
The rest of it,
Gentlemen, your favorite, most muscular.
Here we go. I got to go with Dexter, man. I really do.
yeah.
I had William this morning.
Yeah, me too.
We made that clear at the pre-judging.
But Dexter's just getting harder and
Dexter,
harder and
to
harder.
me, has gotten harder
Thank
and
you,
more
gentlemen.
crisp.
Back in line. This
Rami
concludes this round.
clearly has faded a little
Back
bit.
to you, Clint.
I'll tell you what, it's not a lot.
Thank you,
we're
Steve.
talking again.
Thank
we're
you,
splitting
judges.
hairs, but
What do you think, ladies and
How's he
gentlemen?
doing this?
I don't know.
Let-
I mean,
Let's
if
post
he wins this
down.
thing,
The problem, see, for
at
Dexter,
51 years old, bro, that's insane.
knowing Dexter, he wins. He may not retire.
That's
after
what I
all.
said.
He may not
Yeah.
retire
He's
after
got-
all.
They're going into the pose down right now.
Who's it gonna be?
So, Bob, knowing Dexter, he wins a few of these in a row. Does he still retire, or does he change his mind?
Nah. I think he's done. All right, bodybuilders into the audience. As you can see, this is been done for many years here at the Arnold. This gives the audience a great opportunity to see these guys up close and personal. When you see some of the best bodybuilders in the world really right in your face, it's pretty cool. So they're going to have a little bit of fun with the audience here, give a little bit back to the community.
It's a great opportunity. Everybody wants to take a selfie with their favorite bodybuilder.
And it gives us a chance to do some predictions here because these guys are going to be out there for a little while. So,
And now we have the Ed Corney Best Poser Award and a check for $10,000. And the winner tonight, Sergio Oliver Jr. Joining him is Arnold champion and Olympia champion Brandon Curry.
So tell me, let's put this down here. You hold this. Thank you for your help. This is unbelievable, let me tell you. In Columbus, 50 years ago, I was posing here with your dad in Columbus, Ohio. I mean, this is like, and now today, to see his son looking so extraordinary. I mean, it's too bad that your father passed away way too early. But if he would see this picture, he would be laughing and he would be smiling and he would be the happiest guy in the world. So I just want you to know, on his behalf, I can tell you, and on my behalf, how proud we are of you. Unbelievable. You're fantastic. Your posing was extraordinary. Man, you made some really good and slick moves here today. I can tell you. You didn't win this trophy for nothing. So just tell me, how much did you concentrate on posing and how much time did you spend on this routine every day?
I feel like my whole life. I feel like all I've been doing is studying tape, and I've been born in this sport. I tell people all the time that bodybuilding is different for me. It's what I do, but it's also why I'm alive. My parents were both pros. They met because of the sport of bodybuilding, and now here I am. And I feel like I've been waiting for this my whole life, and now I don't even know what to say. Me and my friends over there, we've been driving to this show for a long time, every year. I've driven here every year on my own, from Chicago, from Florida, from North Carolina, just to come watch the show, and it's really for the real fans. And I wanted to say, everyone here tonight is a true fan of bodybuilding. With everything that happened this weekend and the catastrophes, it really showed us the difference between the fitness industry and the bodybuilding industry. And we are one, and we are strong, and we will always take care of each other. And this is why I do it. I do it for the real fans. And I don't expect anyone to be as crazy as I am studying tape and looking at old film, but I think we could all step up the posing in general across the board. I think it's lagging, and I think there's a bit of class that's missing from bodybuilding that we can step up as a whole. And there is a bunch of us that are putting our craft into it. And I want to thank the Lorimers for even giving us a platform to even present that. I'm so lucky to be a part of this and to be able to be doing this with you. I'm even alive with the best, I feel like the best poser ever, and that's Terrence Ruffin. I think he is the Muhammad Makawi of my generation, and I think that we can all be better on different levels and help the sport grow. But I wanted to ask you something. I know the rule is you never take the mic from you, but like you said, my dad, he would be proud. I don't know what he would be thinking. I don't know what he would be saying, but I will tell you this. I know that if I got you to hit the victory pose right now, he would love that. Can I take it? You hit it? The victory pose? Can you hit the victory pose?
Which one?
The victory
I had so many victory poses.
My dad's victory pose.
Oh, your dad's victory pose. You mean the overhead pose?
You
No,
gotta do it.
I want you to do the victory pose.
No,
Come
I'll
on
do
now.
yours and you do my dad's.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Good luck with everything. I hope that you come back, and you come back until you win this, because you're really unbelievable. You're in unbelievable shape. So I wish you the best of luck in the future, okay? Let's give him a big hand. Come on.
Thank you, Arnold. Thank you, Sergio.
All right, Bob Chick back with Aaron Singerman and Luke Sandow, our continuing coverage here at the Arnold
we've got
2020. You
something
just
really
saw a
special.
great moment on
Before
stage.
we do, can I
Sergio
just ask
Jr.
all the VIP
taking home
ticket
best honors
holders
for
to
best
head down to the front
presentation
of
from
stage,
Arnold, so
because
that's
you're gonna have
pretty
your
cool.
picture with the
He
winners
used to obviously
tonight. So just
compete
start
with
heading down and don't miss out.
Sergio's dad back in the
But
day,
tonight
so what a
we
great
have
moment here at
the
the
most
Arnold for that and for
muscular trophy.
Sergio. What a great experience.
Last person to beat him, right?
$10,000 award to go with it.
Was his dad.
Yes.
Yeah, it was the last person to beat Arnold.
That's right.
Yeah.
And we'd like to thank Franco's wife, Debbie, and his daughter, Maria.
They've got
for helping
two
Arnold
awards
to
back
present
this year. That
award.
best
I know it's a
presentation,
really
which you just saw,
special
Sergio, the
moment
most
for
muscular,
Arnold,
which
the whole
I don't know, from a
Colombo
bet man, I
family,
got to either go
and
Big
the whole
Ramy
bodybuilding
or
world.
Patrick
Hakeem.
Moore.
Or Big
The
Ramy,
most
I don't know.
muscular man
or
tonight.
Big Ramy. Yeah.
Winning the
And now
first
they've
ever
changed
Franco
the name of this award to
Colombo Award.
the Franco Award, right?
Yes,
Is
they've actually have a
Big
very
Ramy
special
Elspeth.
special statue trophy.
Didn't they pretty much bring this award in for Branch Warren? Because I remember
And
he-
we
don't
have
know. Was
his
it
won it 3
wife,
years in a row.
Debbie
He won, he's got a whole bunch of them.
and
Yeah, there it
Maria
is, Big
Colombo's
Ramy,
daughter,
obviously with
presenting
the,
trophy
and
there
that was a
right
pretty
here.
easy call.
This is Debbie Colombo, and
And who
this
better
is
to give it to
Maria
him but your
Colombo.
reigning
Come.
Olympia champion, Brandon Curry.
Looking very nice in his suit, I have to say.
Nice little check to boot. And the award I can't wait to see, because this was especially commissioned in memory of Franco Colombo. Obviously, everybody knows that story.
That's
And
very cool.
look at that.
The first one, that's super cool. Wow.
Kind of would have made more sense if he was doing a most muscular.
Yeah.
Thank you, Brandon. Now that's the most muscular right there.
That's some beef right there.
Yeah. It's funny he doesn't usually hit that most muscular that one he did,
No.
huh? Really cool.
Just wanted to ask you one quick question. I mean, what does it mean to you to get the first Franco Colombo trophy, since he was such a great champion, one of the greatest bodybuilders of all time?
When I heard you to talk about the history about your friend before the show, I really felt that mean how you have a friend in the stage. When I stopped 1 year last year to compete, I felt that I missed my friends. I missed my friends to be in that place. and that make me, you know, I need to compete back again to be in that place again. Doesn't matter, Rami is first, doesn't matter, Rami is last one. And that means the best place to make a friend is this line. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you, Arnold, Debbie, and Maria. And
Big congratulations, Big Ramy. Obviously, your most muscular award winner. No dispute there.
And
He's been
once
working
again,
on his English
if
the
we can have
last
all
few
the
years, so
VIP
good for
ticket
him on
holders
that.
line up here.
didn't
Make
know
sure
what he
you've got
said,
your ticket
because
because
We're too far away to hear,
Too far away.
but it seemed like the crowd liked it, so it must have been pretty good.
In all fairness, look, I understand you just as much as Big Ramy. So,
Well, I'm speaking actual English. England.
Queen's English.
And the Queen's English.
Yes.
Real English.
Sergio,
All right, this is
Cedric,
it, boys. Now we're down to our top
Ramy,
6,
and
I
William.
believe.
Okay. So
In
it's a
sixth
matter
place,
of will it be
getting a check
Now.
for 10,000,
Red card
presented
one
by Nick
athlete,
Kretsulis
athlete,
of
or
Mount
will it
Carmel
be,
and Edward Yang of the
Sergio,
Columbus Dispatch.
the best
Ten.
poser?
This is tense. This is
Cedric
tense.
What's
McMillan.
on the line here?
There it is.
There it is.
So we actually called that one right. So Sergio actually picked up a spot over Cedric. No surprise there. Cedric looked good. Clearly not as his best as we talked about earlier. But still in the top 6.
He
He's
definitely
still
made some ground since this morning. I think.
still fighting it out.
Yeah. Okay. So
I gotta.
Congratulations and thank you,
go
Cedric.
Sergio. I'm gonna go
In fifth
Sergio
place,
next. I'm gonna think they left
check being
Steve
presented
Kukla
by
in
Jan
fourth place.
Tanner.
Yep.
I think so too.
And Mayor Aravainen from Cryotech Nordic, $15,000, and the 5th place award goes to Sergio Oliver Jr.
That's a great position for Sergio.
Yes.
The improvements obviously appreciated by the judges. He's got to be feeling pretty good. I mean, obviously he got an award from Arnold himself, got a little airtime, and picks up an impressive 5th place finish at the Arnold. So
Amazing
congratulations,
result.
Sergio.
Amazing result for him.
All right, I'm
Well
sticking
done,
with
Serge.
Steve
What a
Kukla here
night.
in 4th. He had Steve had to fight for that spot, as you see.
Yeah.
They called those other guys out.
Thank
They kind of
you,
dropped him
Sergio.
down, see if anybody else could beat him.
Our
probably got
4th place
worked the
award,
Yeah, he did.
a
And,
check for
good Steve.
$30,000, being
Another
presented
good
by
placing. He's up
Brett
from last year.
Reichard
Yep.
and the baddest man on the planet, Randy Couture. That goes to Steve Kuklo.
As
All
expected.
right, now
good, well.
this is where it gets interesting. I'm going to go with Big Ramy for 3rd. I think the other 2 guys pretty much established themselves, especially tonight, into 1st and 2nd, and then we'll get into our predictions on that one to see if they swung it the other way or
Congratulations,
if William
Steve Kuklo.
hung on enough from this morning.
Yep.
Our 3rd place award being presented by Nick Kretsulis and Jan Tanner again. $50,000 goes to Mamdao Big Ramy Elspaye.
There it is. And you get it right on cue because
didn't like
the crowds always like the freaks. Guess what? They're out there booing, but listen, you got to appreciate what Big Ramy's
Ramy.
brought back to the table and his first venture with new coach Chad Nichols. So the future's looking pretty bright for the big man. All right, I am going to go. Now, I thought Dexter looked a little sharper tonight, at least from what we can see on the video monitor here in the back. I'm going to say they stuck with
Thank you,
William
Ramy.
Bonac for the win.
And now
So I
it's
think
down to
Dexter.
2.
I still
I think he made up some ground. Did he make up enough
I
ground?
still think Dexter.
The
deserves
2nd
it.
place
All right.
award being
I think
presented
Williams
by
will get it.
Mayor
I think Williams
Aravainen
will get it.
from Cryotech and Fred Biggie Smalls from Big Sports. $75,000. In 2nd place tonight, the one and only Dexter Jackson.
Ah, there it is.
The blade.
The sentimental pick, obviously. You would like to have seen Dexter
Yes.
finish off his Arnold career, obviously, with a win. But you know what? You can't take it away from William. He had a little bit of a lead in the morning, I believe. Dexter made up some ground, but clearly not enough ground. And there's your winner again, William Bonac. William, Mr. Consistency.
The Conqueror.
The Conqueror. Hey, he conquered
and
again.
he conquered once again.
The greatest, Dexter Jackson. Our 1st place award being presented by Steve Slater of Rogue Fitness, and Natalie Eva Marie from Rain Body Fuel, $130,000. And your Arnold Classic Champion 2020, William Bonac.
There it is, your first champ of 2020. William the Conqueror Bonac back in
Let's
the winner's
welcome
circle,
Arnold.
back to the Olympia.
Arnold on stage with that magnificent
He earned
Arnold
it, Bob. He
Classic
was shredded, in
statue.
shape, as
William,
always.
Yeah.
And, you know, he's been very hard to beat lately, so.
I know you've
He's
been
very
waiting for
consistent.
this.
Like I said, that's his hallmark, is his consistency, and that's going to bode well with the judges always. They like to see that. Remember we were talking about earlier, Luke, about how the judges always got it in their mind of what you looked like last time. Well, he looked that good last time he won this show.
If you're always 100%, you're always, it's pretty difficult to deny.
Yeah.
William Bonac, ladies and gentlemen. Wow, look at that. What a winner. One of our best lineups ever. Over to you, Arnold.
Arnold's always thinking about the selfie. Look at him. He's going to get the picture
He
with the
loves
crowd
it,
in the
doesn't he?
back.
He just loves it.
Yeah, he's going to put it, what does he do?
his
Snapchat. He's going to put it on
Snapchat,
Snapchat.
Arnold's very up on the date up on all the social media
He's
stuff. and all
down
that.
with the kids.
He knows, look, he knows.
Oh,
He knows
hang on,
what-
let's
Feel
listen
great,
in.
huh?
I feel amazing. I feel wonderful, man. You know, my world is like, it's like I'm in heaven now, man, for the second time. You know,
So tell me now about your training. Maybe you can share some of your secrets.
I don't really have a secret. My only secret is hard training, you know, patience, dedication. I just bring myself to the gym every day, you know, so I take it a day by day, you know, and see how it goes. You know, I don't plan ahead. So each day is a struggle for me. And this prep was really tough for me because I was dealing with the injury as well. Lost my sponsor as well. So this really means a lot to me for the title. So I want to thank everybody for coming here, for supporting us as well. You know, also despite the coronavirus, for you guys to be here, for your understanding, really appreciate it. And thank you for your understanding, you know. And hopefully we can do this over with the expo in a few months' time or even next year, you know. So health comes first, you know. So let's please have understanding for this situation. And thank you guys, thank you all. And I want to thank a special person. And if it's possible, I want to bring that special person to the stage. Because without a special person, I couldn't have done this, you know, because she's the one behind my prep, behind my meals. She's the one who's pushing me every day to go to the gym. She's the one taking care for my kids, you know. And when I'm weak, when I'm tired, she's the one, you know, who lifts us all up. She's stronger than I am. And I want to bring my fiance to the stage. Sienna, please, can you come to the stage?
Hey, William, turn around. Thank you, Arnold. Thank you. Now, we're going to get the top 6 when they're finished, you know. Turn the lights down, maybe. Well, let's line up for a picture, you guys.
Dexter on one side, third place on the other side.
And remember, we've got the seminar, the showcase with all the winners and Arnold tomorrow morning at 9:30. And remember, daylight saving starts tonight, so you've got to get up an hour earlier. We've got a shot of Arnold with the pros, the winners. Then we're going to get the VIP ticket holders on stage for a picture with the platinum ticket holders with your ticket to have a picture with William. Thank you, Arnold. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Check this out. Check it out. There's one thing I think the message came from Triple H, from Arnold, and everyone tonight, is we're all in this together. So when you see someone at the gym or someone struggling or someone that's out of shape, give them a word of encouragement and bring them along on the ride. Well done to all the judges. Thanks to the best audience in the world, and good night.